Hi everybody, I hope you're keeping well. The purpose of today's video is to give you an update on some key initiatives and activities that are going to be happening across the firm. And these are really in response to feedback that you've given us. So late last year, you gave us a lot of feedback in relation to People Voice. Steve has already communicated those results, particularly around our employee net promoter score that has dropped significantly. And you outlined some areas that you really wanted to see significant improvement on. That was around communication. You said you wanted more regular, informative and transparent updates from the leadership team around what was happening in the firm, be that big changes or just the everyday life stuff that might actually matter to your job here in Grant Thornton and to your career. The other piece that you said you I suppose wanted to continue with was a lot of the inclusion and diversity initiatives, that there's a lot of, people feel very strongly that we're doing really well in that space, and that's something that we want to continue. In addition to that, you obviously highlighted some of the very positive messaging around quality and client focus. And, you also said to us that you wanted us to focus on learning and development, on providing career opportunities, as well as continue the strong collaboration that is happening across the firm. And finally, you mentioned culture. And you said to us that culture is critical to the success of Grant Thornton, has been in our past, and you want it to be in our future. So on the note of culture, we have been doing a culture assessment as part of our integration with GTUS. So over the last number of weeks, quite a few of you have been involved in either a focus group, so over 85 people from across all geographies, all levels, all service lines have been involved in focus groups. We've had over 122 people who've completed surveys, and we've also done interviews with Steve and some of the senior leaders across our service lines in relation to our culture. What are the similarities? What are the differences between us and the US? And what is it that we want to really, really retain as we integrate fully with Grant Thornton US? Not surprisingly, what we're hearing is that there's a lot of similarities between what you're telling us now and what you said in the People Voice survey. So communication is coming through really strongly again. The other thing that's coming through is our values, that you really want to retain our values, and particularly that fun value, that you feel that maybe that's dissipated over the last, maybe I'm going to say the last number of months, but probably a little bit longer than that in the last year or so. And you really want us to lean in on that value and start to live it again across the firm. So I suppose with that feedback in mind, we've been thinking about what initiatives can we implement to really enhance both communications and also the fun value. The first thing is, Steve recently announced that we're going to establish a firm-wide sports and social committee. So first off, I want to thank all of the people in the service lines who are already involved in sports and social within the service lines. They're doing an amazing job. And the purpose of this is not to replace or, outdo anything that those teams are doing. It's to, I suppose, complement it and to look at firm-wide initiatives that we might host that will allow people to network outside their service lines and to get to know people outside their service lines. So something like maybe, tickets for a Taste of Dublin or the Big Grill, or I don't know, we might do five-a-side rugby or I can't even think of things now, but like tennis tournaments or whatever it might be, what people are interested in, theatre nights. So this is going to be a firm-wide initiative, and we're looking for people to actually join that committee. So you'll see an email coming out asking for volunteers to participate in the committee. It'll be social@ie.gt.com will be the email address that we're asking you to respond to. So again, this is really a call to action. If you're interested in being part of a sports and social committee firm-wide, we're looking for volunteers. So that's part of the fun piece. I'm hoping that there's a good budget behind that and that we'll see lots of new initiatives happening for the rest of 2025. In addition to that, on communications, you will have seen hopefully an enhancement in that over the last number of months. We had an all-hands town hall with Jim Pico and Steve and Gina, etc., not that long ago. You should have seen an invite come into your email or into your inbox as well for an Ask Us Anything event that is going to happen on the 30th of April. That Ask Us Anything is genuinely an opportunity for you to ask anything that you want to ask. If you click on the calendar invite, in there's an email where you can put questions to the same, to Jim, to Steve, to Gina, etc. again. So please take the opportunity to ask any questions that you have. And in addition to that, you'll have seen a new newsletter that was launched. You'll have seen more regular updates from Steve, and obviously these types of videos we're going to come out with as well as the Integration Hub, if you're looking for information on the Integration Hub. The last piece I wanted to tell you was that part of the feedback that you gave us was around investments in systems and in internal ways of working, and particularly on something like an ERP that you felt the firm could really invest in enterprise resource planning tool. And the good news is that as part of the integration with GTUS, that's exactly what we're doing. We have now a team that are looking at an enterprise resource planning, an ERP system across, US and Ireland. We've actually gone out to tender. The IT team are looking at that as working very closely with finance. So that is something that you'll hear more about. It's obviously very, very early days when we're only at tender stage. But in the months ahead, you're definitely going to hear more about that. One other piece on systems is that we have made a decision that we're going to transition over to the Oracle system, which is the HR system that the GTUS firm use. So we currently have Workday. We'll be transitioning off that, but we will give you lots of notice, and there'll be lots of training and loads more communication in that in the months ahead as well. But really the purpose of today is to say, look, we're hearing your feedback. We're really trying to make our best efforts to respond to that feedback and really enhance how things are operating in the firm and improve the experience that you're having in the firm. But obviously we don't have all the answers. So if you have suggestions and you have ideas, please feel free to speak to anybody in the P&C team or to email me directly at sinead.brennan@e.gt.com. I'm really happy to take on suggestions or feedback that you have. Look, thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye.